On June 29, 2020, Maurice Smith and his girlfriend Darion Burley walked into a Waffle House in Fort Worth, Texas. Darion was pregnant with twin boys, and this restaurant was one of her favorites to eat at. When they finished their meal, the couple paid their check and walked out of the restaurant and got into their vehicle. Shortly after leaving the restaurant, Darion's body would be found in this car with a single gunshot wound to the upper body.
Did you talk to Sergeant Hewitt about what you saw?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I called 911 and that was really it. I didn't talk to anybody else other than
Did you see anything in the parking lot?
I did.
What did you see?
I saw him pull up and he got out of the car and pointed the gun at her, and then that's pretty much all I saw. I didn't see his face or anything. And then as soon as she got out of the car, she came in, and then she was able to tell me more. But it happened pretty fast.
Yeah.
So.
A witness told police that she saw Maurice park his vehicle at her place of work, with Darion's body still inside. He then pointed a gun at this woman and demanded she give him her Jeep. The woman handed him her keys and he drove away, leaving his deceased girlfriend and her twin boys behind for police to find. Not only was the victim able to pick Maurice out of a lineup, the police also found him inside the stolen Jeep. Maurice told police he was overdosing on drugs, so they brought him to the hospital, where doctors confirmed he was fine. Maurice was brought to the local police department and put into an interrogation room.
So, Maurice, did anybody tell you why you're here today?
No, I just woke up in the hospital and they said I was detained.
Yeah, well, they got you detained. Looking at somebody talking about their car got stolen. We're looking at that right now, so we're here to talk to you about, okay? And, Maurice, we want to talk to you about why you're here, and I want to answer any questions that you have. And we got some questions for you as well. But here's the thing, Maurice, we are in a situation here where you're obviously not free to go. I think you figured that out by now. So, being as though we're in a situation where you're not free to go, for us to talk and have a conversation about why you're here, you know as well as I do, we need to go over your Miranda warnings so you have a full understanding what your rights are, okay?
What am I here for?
You're here, Maurice, because somebody reported that their car was taken, and we believe that you have some responsibility, and so they pointed in your direction, so that's why we're here to talk to you, okay?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, well, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Know anything about car being taken or anything, so I don't see what's the point of us talking.
Well, I mean, we can go into details, but again, we have to agree that you want to discuss the things that we want to talk about. So we can't dive off into that until you decide that, let's discuss it, let's talk about it. Where'd you stay at last night?
Where'd you spend the night last night?
I don't even remember, man. I just remember waking up in the damn hospital.
Maurice claims that he doesn't remember anything before waking up at the hospital. He also claims to be very tired and groggy. The detectives find it difficult to believe Maurice because he was walking around and talking to staff at the hospital.
But we're just answering questions. We're just asking questions.
Yeah, I'm tired.
You are too, man.
The good thing is that you was able to lay in the hospital and you were in that bed, laying down, dozing off, getting some good rest for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Doctors cleared you, said that you're good to go. They took good care of you. The nurses took good care of you. They cleared you, said, yes, this young man here he's good to go. And they wouldn't have let you go unless they felt otherwise. Which gives me a lot of confidence because I think they know what they're talking about. Hey, Maurice, tell me this, man. Because we know you have good memory because you're telling us things right now that you have memory of, so which that's good. So I want you to back up and think for me, Maurice. I want you to just really think. This is important, okay? Because none of us would be sitting in this room unless it was important, okay? So this is an important time in your life, all right? This is a very important time in your life, all right? I want you to understand that, okay? So what I want you to do, Maurice, I want you to think for me. I want you to think back to the first recent day before you having this mind with the struggle you're having right now. Go back to when you start to remember something like, you know what, okay, the last thing I remember was this, and tell me about that. Not the shower, I'm talking about before the shower, naked, the fire truck, and all that. Before that, tell me about the last thing you remember.
I remember Waffle House.
Waffle House?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a few Waffle Houses around. Which Waffle House would you at?
Where is my car? Where is she at in my goddamn car? Where is my car?
Well, I don't know where your car is right now, Maurice, but I'm asking you, let's go back to the Waffle House. When you went to the Waffle What made you go to the Waffle House? Is that where you usually eat? That just who thought to go to the Waffle House? Maurice, I know you know what her name is. I'm asking you an easy question, man. What's your spouse's name?
Say it again.
Your spouse's name. What's your spouse's name? So we were at the hospital. The doctors told us, man, this guy, he's fine. He's doing good. And they cleared you and had you stand up, walk around. You were talking. I watched it, and so I'm wondering why it is that you're not telling me this when I do know that you know the answer to that question.
My head is spinning.
But you know enough to call her your spouse, but you can't recall her name?
Darren.
Darian? Okay, see, there you go.
Was Darren or Darian?
Darian. When y'all done eating today, what'd y'all go do? Where'd y'all go next?
Shit. I got high. I went home to my sister's.
Where'd you say you got high, then you went to your sister's, so where'd you remember getting high at?
On the patio.
On the patio of your sister's house?
Yeah, I smoked my first K to the stick. But when I sat on that patio, I got to the high.
Maurice's new story is that he and Darian got into an argument shortly after leaving the Waffle House. Maurice claims that he pulled over on the side of the road, got out of the vehicle, and walked to his sister's house. There he got high, and that's all he remembers.
I'll tell you what, so we went to Waffle House, and when did the fight and the arguing or whatever start? When she was talking about that?
When I got outside and looked at the tire, it was low. She was like, the tire's flat. It looks like it has a razor slit or a cut in it, and it's like it's gonna have a blowout. I got the air, and it didn't air up. So then she got irritated because I didn't want to pay $60 for a tire from Discount Tire. So as I leave, and she go to snapping and fussing, I got shit to do. So I just got out the car, walked my ass across that freeway.
Then that's when you went and got high.
Yeah,
Okay. So
I was already smoking leaving.
So when y'all driving around, when y'all notice, who knows the tire and when again?
When we came out of Waffle House,
Came out of Waffle
the
House.
tire out.
She found it, okay. And it's obvious you went to go try to get, now what did you do to try to fix that tire?
I tried to air it up
Now where were you when you tried to air it up?
at the store right there. Shoot.
Did you go and talk to folks at Discount Tire?
Yeah.
What, did you have to get a new tire?
They was trying to charge me $60.
So what'd you do then?
To spend it. I told her, well, we can go find a used tire. And she just started snapping as I got on the service road, man.
Now earlier you said that your spouse, that she had errands to run, but now you're saying that she made you feel like less of a man because she called you a junkie. So
And told me, I got errands to run,
So what kind of errands was she running
Shit to
today?
do. So I said, well, fuck it. And I jumped out the car.
You jumped out the car.
Yeah.
Then what did she do?
Pulled off.
Pulled off? Now she was driving your car, right? Okay.
The car text me, I got high. Woke up ass naked, getting yelled at with a fire truck and an ambulance. And I see you guys or the police or something jump in and cuff me up.
Yeah.
The detectives are finally able to get Maurice to speak with them, and he has already shown he had motive to murder his girlfriend. Now they just need to keep questioning him and hopefully get him to admit he was the shooter.
So she's angry. She's upset about you're getting high, and she says where's she work at?
I honestly don't know. She always tell me she had a job, but I never seen where she worked. Last time I checked, she was working at McLean.
McLean?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when y'all drive around, you move up house, the tire's not completely flat because you can still get around a little bit, right?
It was flat. It was flat.
It was flat. And did you ever get that thing fixed at all before she left?
The air in. Once we put the air in and we went through Discount Tire, they aired us up some. We pulled out, jumped on the freeway, and that's when the argument, and I just pulled over, got out.
How'd the argument start? Tell me about that.
Her calling me a junkie, my head.
Why'd she call you that this morning like that? What started that?
Because I was smoking today too.
This morning before then, huh? Even before you went to your sister's then, right?
Yeah, I was smoking.
Okay.
So when I got out the car, man, finished off my stick, across the freeway, smoking my stick.
And we want to talk to you about what happened, why you was in Mansfield today. The reason why I'm asking because you definitely talked to a woman today who saw you in Mansfield.
Mhm.
Okay. So we're trying to figure out what happened in Mansfield. So you having some car problems. You had a fight with your girlfriend, your spouse. I'm sorry. So I'm trying to figure out what happened here in Mansfield. What's going on here in Mansfield?
I'm trying to figure out too.
Well, we're on the same. That's a good thing because we're on the same boat. Then that's good.
The one thing that we can say we know is that you were in Mansfield. Okay, so I think we're all three pretty much sure about that.
I think y'all too sure about that.
Well, Maurice, I will tell you something, sir. I'm 100% certain you're in Mansfield today. There's no question on mine that you were in Mansfield today. Okay?
Right.
I know you were in Mansfield. That is not anything that's in question here today. You were in Mansfield, Texas today. Before we brought you here, you were in Mansfield. Okay? And so what I'm trying to understand from Maurice is what brought you to Mansfield today, and why did you talk to that woman in the parking lot today? Okay, you talked to a woman in a parking lot here in Mansfield, and so I'm trying to figure out why Maurice is in Mansfield, Texas today, and that's an important question.
Right.
All right. What brought you to Mansfield? What kind of connections do you have in Mansfield? Who do you know down here?
Wasn't in Mansfield today.
Well, I understand. I hear what you're saying, but I know you were here. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but I know you were here, and I'm trying to figure out what connections and who you know here in Mansfield. What kind of you got friends, family down here in Mansfield you talk to from time to time?
It was probably to see my mom or something. I don't know.
Well, tell me about your mom. Was your mama here in Mansfield?
No, she was at home.
Where
That's what I'm saying. I don't recall being in Mansfield. But let's terminate this interview because I don't know what's going on and I don't want to.
The interrogation would end here, and Maurice would be charged with capital murder. Maurice's mother, who was there when he showed up at her home in the stolen Jeep, told police her side of the story.
And he wasn't himself. He said, Mama. And I said, yes. He said, what you doing? I said, nothing. I said, why are you talking so? What's wrong with you? What's going on? Where are you? He said, day. And I said, hello? I said, Maurice. I said, son, what's going on? He was talking out of his head. I don't know, something just came over me and I got frantic because he was crying a little bit and he was, I don't know where I am. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know where you are? I said, where's your car? I don't know. I don't know. With my homeboy, I said, Maurice, where's your car? I said, what have you had? Have you had anything? No, Mama, no. I said, yes, you have. What have you had? Her feeling. And so by this time, I'm up and I'm pacing because it's not like him. And so I said, I'm at 287 and something. I said, where's your car? I said, are you walking? Are you there? No, I don't know where I am. I said, stop. Take a breather and tell me where you are. Look around you and tell me where you are. He didn't do it. He hung up. I want to say dress, but it's not. It stopped right here. He didn't have anything on but his underwear, socks, and shoes. When I looked out of the window down at him, he was coming from behind the trash can. And he had some booster cables in his hand, and he had trash and stuff. Just, I don't know if he got it out the dumpster or what, but I'm looking at him and he's sweating a lot. And by this time, I said, come on, sweetheart, let's go in the house. I said, Mom's gonna call, you need help. Mom's gonna call 911. I didn't call 911 then, I called my oldest daughter. I said, Kiara, can you help me with him? I said, something is going on. He's not himself. I need help. I said, I have these babies here. She said, Mom, I don't have a way. I said, well, call your Aunt Kimmy, which is my sister, my baby sister. I got him in the house. Finally, I tried to grab the bag from him because he had all on him. My hand went in it like this, and he snatched it. So I said, okay. I said, okay. I said, okay. I said, come in the room. I said, why are you sweating? What have you had, son? What have you had? Mama, I promise I had them. Eyes just as big as mine are naturally. And I said, yes, you have. I said, what have you had? By this time, I'm nervous because I've never dealt with him in that nature. Now, Maurice smoked a little weed. Okay, yeah, smell it on him, yes. He never does it in front of me, but I've always smelled it on him. Even when I got in his car, I'd be like, oh, let the windows down. What he had yesterday was not weed. He's pacing back and forth. He's pacing back and forth. I grab my grandbaby. She's crying. He's in the first bedroom. When I tell him, I said, sweetheart, I said, take your clothes out. I said, you're hot, you're wet. I said, take clothes out. I said, whatever you had, we're going to get you in a cold shower to bring your body temperature down. No, I gotta go. They're going to get me, Mama. They're going to get me. They're coming after me, Mama. They're going to jump me. They jump me. I said, who's jumping? What happened? Who's going to jump you? This is just how he was just talking and rambling. And so he's going back and forth and he's peeking out the doors and he's shutting the doors and he's just like all over the place. I said, oh my God. That's when I called 911. I said, y'all, please help me. I said, my son has had something and he is out of his mind. I don't know what it is. I just said ecstasy because that's what I thought. That's just what came to mind. I said, oh God, please send someone, please someone. He said, ma'am, I'm going to be on the phone with you until they come. Stay on the line with me. I said, yes, sir. I didn't find out what happened until after the police officers did an investigation.
Earlier when you said he came to your house and took a shower, another officer who was explaining some things to me said that he did have blood on his underwear.
Yes. When he came in, and I told him to get out of his shirt and stuff and put it down. When he turned around, there was a red blood stain on the back of where his anus is, about yay big. And I said, Maurice, what happened? I said, why is there blood on your underwear? What happened? He wouldn't tell me.
Yeah.
He wouldn't tell me, so.
I think one other thing we wanted to cover, someone said at some point you went back out to look for his phone in that Jeep.
Yes.
Okay.
By the time we came coming out, when we was getting ready to walk to the EMS and I had his hand, I grabbed him. I said, son, where is your phone so you can contact me once they get you up there? And, you know, I don't know. It's in my homeboy Jeep. It's in my home. I said, what Jeep? It was still running. It still had the keys in it. I opened it up, looked in it. I said, well, your phone isn't in this car. And by this time, the EMS said, ma'am, they're around the corner. I shut the door to the Jeep, turned it off, put the keys in the seat, shut the door, and went to
The Jeep was
EMS.
still running?
It was still running.
What door did you open?
The driver?
The driver's side door?
Uh-huh.
So you were on the driver's side area. Did you
Yeah,
see any
I looked.
blood or anything in there?
I didn't. I was only looking for his phone.
Maurice's mother leaves after giving her statement. After allowing herself a few days to gather her thoughts, she returns to the police department to tell the detectives how she feels about the whole situation.
I want to slap the shit out of him. I want to slap the shit out of him. We've had to call the police. They send patrol cars. They have every right to feel the way that they feel. I told my family, sit down, leave this alone. Enough has been done. Leave this alone.
Yeah.
Now is not the time for vengeance and all this
Right.
crazy shit on Facebook. I hate Facebook. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yes.
Leave that shit alone.
Yes.
If those were reversed, I said, you guys would be doing the same thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of,
So you don't have to retaliate. You don't have to get on there and celebrate. Leave that alone. Don't keep adding fuel to the fire. When they have lost not one, but three. Leave that shit alone.
right.
I still have baby clothes at my mother's in the closet. What am I going to do with that?
And I'm sure
I have
that-
blankets, I have shoes, I have everything. What am I going to do with it? Nobody asked for this.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm here to answer
No,
what you
no,
need.
no.
It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. And then he called me Tuesday, and I had my church members there, and family was all over the house, so I wasn't able to talk to him. And so I had to tell him I was good and all this, but I'm not good. I'm not good. You called me again Thursday. Mama, they're telling me what I done. I said, well, Darius isn't here. So all this extra, I've got a detachment. I've read what's been going on in the newspaper. My daughter has read that to me. So I have a detachment. And I do not support him in this. I'm his mother and he's mine. Whichever way that this goes, I have prepared myself for life without parole, and I have asked God to prepare me for the death penalty. So whichever way that this goes, I will forever bear this. I will forever, my family will forever bear this. So either way this goes, whatever choices were made were choices that both of them had counseling from both sides of the family.
Right.
There were plenty times, detective, that they could have not just went their separate ways. So whatever choices were made, you have to own up to those choices, man up, do whatever you got to do, and go from there.
Right.
You know what I've experienced. And to bring this back into my life, really? Really? Yeah, so I have a detachment from all of this.
Maurice was convicted of capital murder, and he received life in prison without the possibility of parole. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you believe drugs influenced Maurice to commit murder, or was he well aware of what he did? Please share your thoughts in the comments below.